Here we are, we made it to Christmas Eve!
I've got
12 days of Christmas, we made it. We made it, 12 days of Christmas. We're going to finish with one of the main things that we all have as Christians. Yeah. What is it, Daisy?
Testimony! Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah.
There's been so many testimonies throughout the year, loads. But one that sticks out to me recently was with Amelia, our lovely Amelia. Just a reminder again of how big, doesn't matter the problem that you have, that God can make a way. So even though God has done things in my life that I thought, oh, it's too complex, God, how can you do that? Providing a home for me and my girls, but also what Amelia shared was that something that was even bigger and harder, because I was just thinking, how on earth, well, you're going to hear it, but how on earth, God, can you do this? And how he hears the smallest whispers of your heart, the desires of your heart, and he can orchestrate it in a way that can completely surprise you and do it. And it just gave me that boost to know, what else God can do.
There's a really good quote from that one when she says, I'm paraphrasing, but like it made me think of what it is to have a father's love. And that just broke me. I was sat on my bed crying, because honestly, everyone can relate to that.
Absolutely, incredible, brilliant. So we'll show Amelia's testimony. It's Christmas Eve. Yes. Tomorrow's the big day, and thanks, guys. It's not over yet, but they think it is.
Hi, Amelia.
Came to know the Lord Jesus through my sister. She had lots of problems with depression and stuff when she was younger, and she came. Her husband's sister and brother-in-law were on the Mercy ship, the Anastasis. So he was the chief engineer on that at the time, and they'd come, because they lived in New Zealand, they'd come to Bristol, and both of them gave their lives to the Lord through them. And I lived up north in Lincolnshire, and they came up to visit. I could see a difference in my sister, so I knew something had happened, and there was something in what she was saying. But I think we're all on a journey, and the Lord sort of does those little things on the way. Like I know that people were praying for me up in Grimsby, even though I didn't have any Christian members of the family around. So she just said, "Do you want to hear about the Lord?" And she gave me a tract, and she said, "Do you want to pray?" And I said, "No." No, thank you. I thought, I'll read it, and I want to find out what I'm doing first. So I just read this tract several times, and I knew, because I'd always thought about God, and I knew there was something in it. So I just decided that I was going to pray the prayer of commitment. And she just said to me, if you do, just pray and ask the Lord to show you a lively church to go to. And I had no idea what she even was talking about. That was my first step out into a new journey with the Lord. I had to just feel my way, a bit like Freya, because there was nobody there to ask. So I just prayed and asked the Lord to show me, sort of thing.
Amazing.
Trust, I think that is the biggest thing, because everything's about trust and faith in God. And when you're, especially a new Christian, you have no idea what you're doing, who God is, or anything like that. And I found a church and that was lively, but they used to talk about God as Father, and I thought, well, I have no idea. I don't even know what that means, because my father died when I was 6, so I didn't really I couldn't relate to God as a father. And I think that the Lord takes us through things to teach us. I mean, I wanted to know God as a father, and he does things really gently, doesn't he? And I remember, I didn't even know what it was like to be hugged by a father or anything like that. We used to go to a Christian Bible weekend on the Lincolnshire Showground, and somebody I was in a house group with, he just saw me, because we sort of camped out, saw me, came over, he said, Amelia, and he just gave me this massive hug. And God used that. It was almost like he imparted something into me to understand what a father's love looked like. And and then, I mean, there was lots of things that were happening around that time. Yeah. But learning to trust God with your life is sort of massive, because it's like in the 23rd Psalm, one of the first things that I learnt was that it was nothing to do with me. It was God's intention to bring me through for his name's sake, it says, and God would lead me and guide me, and it was not my responsibility so much as trusting God to do it with me. And learning to trust is a massive thing. I was interestingly, I've already heard this testimony today from somebody else. From Nick, but I'll share it anyway. But so God does things in different people's lives, and it can look very similar. But one of the things about having God as a father and realising he likes to give good gifts, and also he knows me well enough to know that I love surprises, we as a family, my husband and I, we both had children from a different marriage, and they were all growing up, and we needed space because we need more room. But I think quite a while before, we'd had a problem with a car and it needed a tow bar fixing, and we took it to a place where this house where they had a tow bar repair, or you could go and get one fixed to your car at the back of the house. And when I went there, I remember saying it. I said, "Oh Lord, I love this house. It's so lovely." It's a throwaway thought. You think, but it's not for me. We could never afford a house like this. So, and I remember thinking it, and God knows our needs, and He also knows what we like, and so when we started looking for a house to sort of take all of the family, this house came up for sale, and so I said to Trevor, "Oh, I do love that house." He said, "Well, we'll go and have a look at it." I said, "Waste of time, because we haven't got that sort of money." And he said, "We'll go and have a look anyway, just be nosy." So we went to have a look round, and I just loved it. I thought it would be perfect, but we just committed our search for a house to the Lord. But the people at the house kept ringing us and saying, if you want the house, how much do you want to pay? And we kept saying, no, we can't. Yeah, and it was just amazing, because in the end, they just said, "No, we want you to have the house." And so they dropped, I can't remember how much they dropped the price of the house by quite a bit, just so that we could have it. And the thing that struck me about that was that God hears our little desires that we throw away almost because we think, oh, well, that's not going to happen, or that's not going to happen. And then he just likes to surprise us. And I remember it when they rang us and they said, yeah, we'll accept what you can afford, because we said, well, we can only go up to whatever mortgage it was at the time. And they said, we'll accept. And we came off the phone and we were just sat there staring at each other in total disbelief. But God is in the detail. He's in not just the details of what he wants, but he also loves to bless us. And so we had this big house, enough for all of the family. And and it's that type of thing that always blesses me with God, because he knows I love surprises. And he always does surprise. And it's often in prayer, it's often the quick prayers that you see him answer most, like the help. Don't know what to say, just help. And things like that. It's those sort of, quick, grab a hold of the Lord that you see him at work in really, really well. Yeah. So, so that's one of the, but I just think it's an encouragement for anybody that God seeks to, he joins with your desires, as well. So it's not just everything that he desires, he's already factored in you and your desires. And even though you think this is impossible, for God nothing's impossible. The only way to really know Jesus is take a leap of faith. You need to. I always thought of it a little bit like putting on a parachute and jumping out of a plane and hoping the parachute will open. Ideally it does. And to put your trust in Jesus is a leap of faith. But no one is ever disappointed who put their trust in Jesus.